This could be a tricksy topic, bringing in discernment to notice what's the difference between how I usually analyze, cognize, intellectualize, figure out, understand things with my normal non-dharmic mind to this dharmic version of exploring, investigating, and just noticing and feeling into what those differences are. And as I've been noodling around with this notion of investigation from a dharmic perspective, what I've connected with, one thing I've connected with, is the relationship of the notion of beginner's mind to the process of investigation. And this, of course, brought to mind one of my favorite quotes from Shunryu Suzuki. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's, there are few. And again, in the beginner's mind, there are unlimited possibilities, but in the expert's, there are only few, a much narrower range of options. This is certainly a reminder to me to keep my mind open, to not cling to my self-identified expert beliefs and biases and conditioned habits of mind, and to be more open to exploring new and perhaps more beneficial and truer ways of seeing things, to come at an experience from a mindful posture of non-biased, non-self-identified caring attention. This means setting aside even Lori's long cherished opinions, ideas, beliefs, biases, so that I can open my heart mind to see and feel into the deeper reality of things from a more spacious, non-attached, non-clinging point of view. And let's also recognize that it's natural that we like to hold to our views, our habits of mind that we've had for so long, that seem to serve us so well, that involve so little effort at this point to maintain. They're automatic. They're comfortable, like an old sweatshirt or an old pair of jeans, all broken in. They are well-worn traits and trails through our neuronal network that are easy to follow. However, when we consider investigation, to looking more closely with more curiosity and interest into the nature of our minds and the nature of all things, of all phenomena, it's certainly helpful to set aside these well-established, well-worn perspectives, notions, ideas, opinions, and to see things with fresh eyes, listen with new ears, with a more open heart as well as an open mind. In a way, this is the ahipasiko approach to our own experience. Come and see for yourself without prejudice, without preconceived notions. So with this more mindful awareness as the starting point for exploring and being curious about our experience, we're invited to check our biases and conditionings and habitual ways of looking at things at the door. Just hang them on the hook. We can always pick them up on our way out if we want. But in this moment, with a beginner's mind, we're willing to not know. to not know what the next moment will bring, to not know what the experience will be, and be open to whatever it is and see things freshly, not take anything for granted, experiencing each moment with a willingness to encounter whatever arises as if for the very first time. So I requested yesterday and Monday, if you were there, that you bring a stone to this practice or a rock. And if you haven't done that, that's okay. Find an object nearby, a coin, a fruit, a vegetable, a mineral, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just an ordinary object you can play around with for the next few moments. And just get that object and just let it rest in your hand. And perhaps think to yourself, I don't know what this is. Now, your ordinary, habituated, conditioned mind may come up with lots of objections to that. Well, of course I know this is a stone. Don't be silly. But see if you can set that aside, soften around that thought or any objections that come up for a moment, and pretend. Imagine you don't know what this is. And just allow the experience of this object come to you as if for the first time, as if you'd never seen anything like it before. Never felt it, never touched one, never encountered this with any of your senses. This miraculous thing that's in front of you. And perhaps wondering just exactly what this is with curiosity and interest. And feel into this experience as you let it come to you. Just receiving the experience of this object through all of your sense doors, including your mind. What does it feel like to bring a more direct beginner's mind perspective to this exploration, this investigation? Allowing a wondering and a bit of curiosity to be present and arise. With a light touch, you might notice and discern the difference between thinking about the object in a more cognitive, intellectualized, analytical way. I like to call it the Wikipedia way, versus allowing a more direct perception and allowing those direct awarenesses to gently come and go in a non-attached way. It's not that thinking stops, but we can reorient thinking with gentle guidance and a soft touch to just present moment awareness of our direct embodied experience. For example, just feeling the weight or the lightness of this object in your hand. Feeling the touch of where this object connects with your hand. The coolness or warmth of this object. And through the sight door, noticing the colors, how light is reflected or absorbed by the various surfaces of this object, the peaks and valleys and shape of this object, or even tapping the object and listening to the sound of the object. Or the smells of this object as we explore the nature of this object directly without any additions. And perhaps even looking more deeply into this object, becoming aware of the causes and conditions that have come together to make this object present in this moment, and its interconnectedness with minerals, with the earth, with sun and rain and warmth and cold, with wind and other beings. Again, notice how the mind may want to get tugged into a more intellectualized discussion of the causes and conditions, rather than just an appreciation of interconnectedness and interbeing. And with impermanence, seeing clearly that at one time this object didn't exist as it is now. And appreciating that it exists as it is in this moment. And it will again come not to exist in moments to come. And at this point, we can set aside these objects we've been exploring and investigating. And in the process, notice any tendencies towards clinging to that object, or aversion of wanting to move on and push away and get on with things. And just smile to the noticing of our mind propensities in even this small way. And perhaps realizing that this object was just like the finger in the analogy of the finger pointing to the moon. Just one tool to help us understand investigation more deeply. Just one way to guide us to the quality of investigation, again, like the raft we use to cross the river, and then we let go of the raft as we continue on our journey. So, setting aside the object and inviting investigation in whatever way is available to you into our sitting practice, as if for the first time. So thank you for your kind attention, and let's gently invite our mindful attention into this part of the practice, exploring our bodies as if we don't know what our body needs in this moment. And just finding out by perhaps moving, stretching, rotating our joints, shoulders, elbows, wrists, our hip joints, loosening the spinal column, releasing as best we can any tightness or tension with interest and curiosity about how best we might do that with a stretch or a twist or bringing in breathing to open up spaciousness around our chest and rib cage, bellies, breathing around and through any tangles or knots or tightnesses, aches or pains. And receiving the breath that knows just how to breathe without any need for us to manage or control or think about. Just inviting us to be with breathing as it arises in this moment. Even as our mind can lightly explore the nature of breathing in this body in this moment. And inviting the mind, heart to settle with a bit more ease. To come in out of habitual patterns, ways of being, and open to the bare, embodied experience of this moment. And when the mind gets entangled, entranced by the habitual thought stream, or dull and drowsy, just invite it back with an orientation towards beginner's mind, wonder and curiosity about the embodied experience of this moment, as if coming back to something new and fresh with many possibilities. In the remaining moments of this practice, perhaps sprinkling in some appreciation of our interconnectedness, of us sitting here with you, you sitting here with us, and all of us sharing this same earth with all beings, breathing the same air as all beings on this planet. And an appreciation of the impermanence of our experience, of each precious, unrepeatable moment, leaping over the waterfall of time. And each moment beginning anew, starting fresh.